Welcome back to Sorare Assist. Adam here, and the end of season sale has started, and I'll be highlighting some top targets you should consider for your SO5 squads with next season in mind. Before all that though, welcome to the Sorare Assist YouTube channel. If you're new to these parts, here you will find all the tutorials, scouting and Sorare information that your brain can handle. If you do like this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. For the month of April, I'm giving away a Magnamed Ozdiev rare card, 30 of 100. This competition is being run on my Twitter page, at Sorare Assist. To enter, you need to subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter, at Sorare Assist, and retweet the pinned tweet on the Sorare Assist Twitter page. At the end of the month, I'll pick a random follower on Twitter who has carried out the entry criteria, and that person will win the Magnamed Ozdiev rare card. I'll announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter, so make sure you follow me on there. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram and of course Twitter. And for more free Sorare content, please check out sorareassist.com. You can also become a member of this YouTube channel now by clicking that join button below, or become a patron of Sorare Assist for weekly player scouting. And if you've not signed up to Sorare yet, then sign up using the link below to get a free limited card. Okay, let's get stuck into today's content then. As I say, the end of season sale is now on, and today I'm going to be picking the top targets in the Belgium Pro League for your consideration. If you want early access to these videos, then join my Patreon or become a member of this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below. None of this content is financial advice, and always do your own research. Okay, so let's get stuck into the selections then. Before I do though, just a quick note on the Belgium Pro League. There are some fixtures actually coming up in the Belgium Pro League for the Europa League qualification and also the Championship round as well. So there is going to be a few players playing in the next couple of weeks. So that may affect the prices and they may go up slightly. Today I'm going to be highlighting some goalkeepers, defenders and some midfielders, and then I'll be highlighting the rest of the midfielders and forwards in part 2 of this video series. Okay, let's get stuck in then. So the first choice I've gone for is Davy Roof of Ghent. He's got an L5 of 60 and L15 of 58. Very consistent goalkeeper. He's now first choice because Bolat was wanting to move away to the Turkish league. He looks like he's on his way out now. He's coming to end his contract, so it looks like Davy Roof has cemented his place as number 1 in the Ghent side. At the moment, you can get his limited for 157 and his rare for 937. If we look at his price, at his peak, his price was £1,211. This was in March 2022. As you can see, his price has come down now, and I expect him to be a fantastic goalkeeper with a fantastic team for next season. If we also look at his score graph as well, we can see some absolutely fantastic scores when he has been since he's got his place in the side over Bolat. So he's a very consistent performer, looks a really good choice. Another good goalkeeper is Hervé Coffey of Sporting Charleroi. Only 25, he has an L5 of 53 and an L40 of 52. His limited is going for 132 at the moment, and his rare price is going for 1,000. But if we look at his peak price around this area here, his rare was going for around £2,100, 1,957 here. This was back in December. 1,800 as well on the 23rd of December. So as you can see, this is looking a very cheap price now, especially when commons are no longer able to be used in the rare divisions from August this year. So it looks like another fantastic choice. And if we look at his scores as well over the last year, we can see some really good scores for a goalkeeper. So another really good choice there. Next up we've got Sami Bossut. Now this guy looks really cheap to me. He's only going for around 54 on his limited and £279 on his rare. He does have a contract till the end of next season as well with Zulte. Although Zulte didn't have the best season this year, hopefully they can improve on that next year, but that's not really affected Bossut's scores that much. He has an L5 of 62 and an L15 of 50. If we also look at his scores as well for the last year, we can see some fantastic scores here because he is making a number of saves. He looks like to be an important player for Zulte and seems to be one of their top performers this year in a poor team. So this price is looking very, very cheap to me. Looking at his price graph as well, At the end of March, his price was almost double what it is now. So he looks like a very good pickup, a very cheap rare goalkeeper who hopefully can be in a better performing team next season. Another good goalkeeper option is Marko Lic of Goric, and he's only 24 as well. He's got an L15 of 46 and an L40 of 47. So overall he is pretty consistent despite what the L5 numbers say. If we look at his price around this area here, so it was £1,895 in January 2022. Now we're going for £875. His limited is going for 95. And he has got some decent scores as well, as highlighted by his score graph here. These are looking very good for a goalkeeper. Another good goalkeeper, and one that you can always depend on, is Simon Mignolet of Club Bruges. L5 of 46, an L15 of 51 and an L40 of 47. These numbers are very good for a goalkeeper. Limited card is going for around 137 and his rare is going for 969. If we look at his price back here, his price was £1,725 on the 10th of February this year. And looking at his scores, we can see some fantastic scores on his score graph. Some really good green numbers here. This is probably attributed to the number of clean sheets that Club Bruges do keep. So, on to the defenders now, and the first one I've gone for is Michael Nagadu of Ghent. So obviously he could be potentially coupled up with Davy Roof as a defensive stack there. And he has an L5 of 58, an L15 of 62 and an L40 of 57. Absolutely fantastic averages here. His limited at the moment is going for around £50 and his rare is going for 353. If we look at his price graph then, so if we look at this price here, so this was a direct offer for £742 on the 2nd of March. That is more than double what his current price is. And if we look at his scores, he's got some absolutely fantastic scores. And look at this graph here, some really high numbers here in terms of the 50 to 60 scores and above. Very, very consistent player. Really like the look of this guy. And he's still only 31. Another defender as well who's fantastic is Brandon Michele. Another one that you could possibly have a defensive stack was Simon Mignolet. And he's got an L40 of 55 and an L15 of 64. An absolutely fantastic performer, this guy. His limited at the moment is going for around £66 and his rare is going for 461. If we look at his peak price back in February, his rare card was going for £798. As you can see, that's a lot cheaper than his current price here. So he looks like another good option. And if we look at some of his scores, we can see some absolutely fantastic numbers here as well. Another defender I like the look of is Daniel Munez of Genk. He's got an L40 of 56 and an L15 of 59. Looks like he's only played a percentage of the games though recently, so that might be something to check out. And if we look at his price here, and there's an offer here of 1,282. There's also an auction that someone bought him an auction back in January for 1,000. His current price is going for 280 and his limited is £30. As you can see, that is a very big reduction, especially if he's going to be a consistent starter. He has started quite a lot of the games. He did play a few did not players here. Don't know why that was, so that might be something to research. But most of the majority of the games he is playing, and when he does play, he's getting some fantastic scores. So this again looks like a very cheap price to me for a top performing player. Another defender that also looks good is Zeng Oskar of Leuven. He's got an L40 of 54 which shows his consistency and an L15 of 53. Limited at the moment is going for 36 and his rare is going for £310. Oskar is only 21 as well and is eligible for the Under-23 League until July 2025. So if you're after an Under-21 defensive player, this guy looks very cheap. If we look at his price graph around this period here in December 2021, there was a public offer for £899 for his card. That is a lot dearer than his current price of £310. And scores wise, he's got some brilliant numbers as well in terms of his score graph. Looking a very good under 21 option to me, a very good price. On to midfielders then, and one of my favourites, this one, Rob Scoffs of Mechelen. Absolutely fantastic, consistent performer. This is the sort of guy that you do want in your team week in, week out. If we look at his averages here, we can see this tells you everything you need to know, especially the L40 number, which is the most important factor I would say. He's got a 62 score average in his L40. Now that is showing consistent performances from Rob Scoffs. His limited at the moment is going for £88 and his rare is going for around £800. Now his price has been fairly consistent in terms of the price of his card. Don't know why that is. It's an absolutely fantastic option. There was an odd direct offer here for £4,000, but that was for the signed version of his card. But generally, the prices have been going for around what his card is for now, maybe a little bit more. But it's still a bargain at this price, as you can see from his scores. Still at 28 as well. And if we do look at his SO5 scores, we can see some fantastic numbers. If we look at all the scores that he's got as well, it's just a sea of green. And if we can see from this graph here, he's getting a high number of 60 to 70 scores. He's in fact got 19 in the lifetime that we've had the Sorare data information. He looks an absolutely fantastic option to me, very cheap at this sort of price. Another good midfielder is Teddy Tuma of Union St. Galicia. L40 again is fantastic at 61, L15 is 64, looks a very good option, and again look at a very cheap price. 811 on his rare and 105 on his limited. If we look at his price over the last 6 months, there's an offer here, £1,394 back in January. And there's also an auction sale here, only recently at the end of March for £1,300. That's a lot cheaper than the £800 that you can potentially pick him up for now. In fact, it's a £500 saving. Looking at his score graph then, we can see some absolutely fantastic numbers here. Really consistent performer, and he's looking a real steal to me. Another one that's looking a real steal to me is Xavier Mercier of Louvain. 32, but he does have a contract till the end of next season, I believe, with Louvain. You can get his limited for around £31 at the minute, and his rare for £306. So for someone who's got on an L40 of 57, this looks an absolute bargain to me. His L15 is also looking good as well at 53. If we look at his price then around the end of January time, his card was going for around £800. That's a lot cheaper than his current £300. In terms of his scores, he's got some absolutely fantastic scores here. If we look at all his scores that we've got available, he's got loads of 80 scores, and he's also got a 100 score here as well. He's a very consistent performer, and as you can see here from this graph, most of the scores are in this area here, which is what we like to see. So if you're looking for a challenger Europe midfielder, I think Mercier is an absolutely fantastic option. Another good option is Adem Zogeni of Sporting Charleroi. He's only 22 and he's got under 23 eligibility till 2024. Now, if we look at his L40, he's got 57 in his L40 and played 75% of the games. L15 he's played 61. L15 he's got 61 average with 73% played, and he's played 100% of the last 5 and he's got an average of 70. This looks to me like he's getting more minutes in the Charleroi team, and this is affecting his form and making him more consistent. His limited is going for 97 and his rare is going for 698. If we look at his price graph then, back here, someone made an offer of 793. This was just back in January. As you can see, that's cheaper than his current rare price. And as I say, his scores are looking impressive as well, especially more recently. Now he's getting more consistent minutes in the team, including in his last game he got a score of 88. So the final selection for this week, and a bit of an outside punt, is Ruud Vormer. So currently plays for Club Brugge, but it does look like he's potentially going to be leaving Club Brugge at the end of the season. Where he's going to end up, we do not know yet. Zulte have been mentioned, but also some potential Saudi Arabian clubs. But I think a lot of players do get linked with those sort of clubs these days. But I think his preference would probably be to stay in the Jupiter Pro League. And the 33-year-old has an L40 of 57. He's played 75% in those games. As we know, he's fell out of favour recently with the manager at Club Brugge, even though he is the captain of Club Brugge, which is a real shame. But I think if he gets a move to another club that's going to give him consistent minutes, he's going to reward you with some fantastic scores, which we'll come on to in a moment. His limited card at the moment is going for a very cheap £19, and you can get his rare card for a budget £171. If we look at his price, back in February, it was actually selling for £849. This is when he was, of course, playing in the Club Brugge team. Now if we look at his scores on Sorare during this period here when he was getting minutes, and if we look at his full graph as well, when he was getting consistent minutes, we can see signs of an absolutely fantastic player. I think when he is getting consistent minutes, he's got the ability to be one of the best performers in the SO5 scoring matrix in the Challenger Europe division. We can see here that all the data we've got on Sorare data, he's got 33 assists and 13 goals. He's also got 2 last man tackles / clearances off the line, and he's also won 2 penalty kicks as well. Absolutely fantastic player, this guy, and this graph here tells everything you need to know. He's got 20 scores in the 70 to 80 range, and he's also got 12 scores within the 90 to 100 range. This guy is absolutely brilliant. If you can find a new club, get consistent minutes, he's going to be getting some consistent high scores. So that was all the selections for this week. This was part 1 of the Pro League top targets, potentially to pick up now for next season. And of course, some of these clubs have got matches coming up for the Europa League qualification, and of course the Championship in the Pro League. So some of these prices may fluctuate during that period, but I expect them to drop back down again when those matches have concluded. Okay, if you did like this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Is there any of these players that you're after picking up? Do let me know in the comment section below. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, use the link in the description below to get a free limited card. And don't forget that you can get early access to these types of scouting videos now by joining the YouTube membership by clicking that join button below. Or become a Patreon for weekly player scouting, and you'll also get early access to scouting videos through that method as well. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.